Hey guys, how's it going? Today's video is going to be a 2021 TBR. This is going to be 5 books that I picked out that I really want to prioritize, and then I'm going to pick 12 books for my polka dotted box of prompts. I feel like 12 makes sense because then if I want to, I can split it up one every month. So here are 17 of the books that I want to read in 2021. I'm going to start with the 5 books that I already picked out. The first one is Plum Bun by Jessie, Redmon, Fauset. As you can see, I did already start this book, but I'm going to restart it and finish the book. I originally heard about this from Becca Smith. I'm going to leave her video linked down below, but this was part of her Forgotten Female Fiction stories. This book is from the 1920s. I don't remember the exact year off the top of my head, but it is from a black author who is writing about a girl who is from a black family, but she's white passing. Her and her mother are white passing while her sister and her father are not, and she wants to basically leave her black roots behind and live presenting as white because it's the 1920s and racism is even more prevalent than it is today. I started reading this book and I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of really heavy commentary and it's just really impactful, but this was in March and I was reading this at work on my breaks, and then I had to stop working for like 4 or 5 months, and this book was at work, and then it had just been so long that I really wanted to just start it from the start and read through it. Like I said, it was really heavy and emotional, and I cried a couple times already, so I'd like to restart and then finish this book. The second book that I want to read is Leaping Wolf by J.P. Harker. This is the second book in the Caledon saga. Hi, comment. If you remember, I read Wildcat last year and absolutely loved it. I think I actually loved it too much, and I just was waiting for the perfect time to read this book. Like, I wanted to have time that I could really, like, kind of read it slowly and really digest it all, and I just kept waiting for that perfect time, and I do that with a lot of books that I'm really excited about. I wait for the perfect time to read them, and there is no perfect time to read books, I think. So I'm going to just read it when I want to read it, which is as soon as possible. I'm not going to go into the synopsis of this book, so like I said, it is the second one. But the first book is about a girl who is from a warrior clan, and basically shit hits the fan at all times, and everything is terrible and wonderful. It is very, very battle heavy, and the battle scenes are so good, but the characters are also really, really strong, both as characters and just as people. And in the first book, you really see her as things in her life keep changing abruptly. You see her just try to take what life's throwing at her and just trying to survive and make the best and just continue her life. I have a fully and spoiler-free review on it. I'll link it above and below, but this is the sequel and I am really excited to get to it, and I'm gonna do it ASAP. Next, a book that I've had on my shelves for a while, and that is The Rag Witch by Garth Nix. I really love what I've read so far from Garth Nix. I read the entire Keys to the Kingdom series, and I read the Sabriel, is that how it's pronounced, series? And I just never got around to this one. I've owned it forever and I just haven't read it yet. So I want to finally get to this one. And because it's been so long since I read the Garth Nix books, I want to see if they hold up because I loved them so much. I was obsessed with the Keys to the Kingdom series. And I don't know, I just have high expectations for this, but it's been so long. I don't remember exactly what this is about. I think that the Rag Witch is some sort of like evil being and the main character has to go and confront them for one reason or another. I think something about his sister? I don't remember, but I'm very excited to get to it eventually because I've had it forever, so I might as well read it. Next is a book that I went back and forth on if I was even going to read it at all, but I decided that I will, and I'm going to read it this year. And that is the third book in the Chevalier des Maraudes series by Anne Robillard. I read the first 2 books, and honestly, I didn't love them, but I own the whole series because I got it as a gift as a box set like 5 million years ago, give or take. This is a French fantasy series about basically knights and an evil emperor and like dragon monster kind of things. The first book was okay. The second book was really dull and repetitive. Part of me almost considered unhauling this series because I didn't like the second one that much, but I decided I'm going to read one more book and then I'll decide if I'm going to keep this series or unhaul it. So at some point this year, I'm going to read this book, I'm going to make a final decision, and we'll see how it goes from there. And the 5th book that I picked out is The Never Ending Story by Michael Ende. I love this movie. This is actually one of my dad's favorite movies. I watched it all the time with him when I was a kid, and we just never owned the book itself when I was growing up, and I finally got myself a copy. And then I think the same thing. I was just waiting for the perfect time and the perfect mood to read this book. Enough excuses. In 2021, I would like to read this book. Assuming that it's the same as the first movie, or at least pretty much. It is about a young boy who gets basically transported into this fantasy world, and there's like this like evil like nothingness kind of thing that's spreading. So he has to team up with some of the characters of this world and save their world. And I really like that kind of like portal fantasy, especially when they're transported through a book, because I don't know, as a bookworm, I just love reading about other bookworms. But anyways, I have owned this book and it's time to finally get to it. And now I'm gonna pick 12 prompts from my polka dotted box of prompts. If you haven't seen this before, it is just a bunch of different prompts that I made up like a year ago or something like that. And I'm gonna pick some out and find books that match them. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick out all 12 prompts right now, and then I'll go pick all 12 books, but I'll edit it so it's like prompt book, because I think that just makes more sense. Not that you need to know this, but now you do. So, let's shake it up. And here we go. First, a book with an ugly cover. First of all, no offense, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I'm going with Moby Dick by Herman Melville. I just really don't like this cover. I don't think there's anything that really like stands out about it. It's not dynamic, it's very flat, it's not cartoony enough but not realistic enough, and I just really don't like this cover. But this is a classic. I've owned it for quite a while and just never got around to it. This is about a man who encounters a whale and something happens and now he is trying to get revenge on the whale. Like I said, this is a classic and it's something that I did intend to read eventually, but yeah, I just really don't like this cover, so it fits. Next. A Shakespeare play. I'm gonna go with King Lear, obviously by William Shakespeare. This is actually my mom's favorite Shakespeare play, and I've never read it myself. I own a couple Shakespeare plays, most of them I have already read, so I'd really like to get to it and cross it off my list. And like I said, it's my mom's favorite, so I think that would be fun and that we can like chat about it together, and I think that would just be really cool. Ooh. A book I've never mentioned on my channel before. This might be a little bit of a cop-out, but that is House of Salt and Cyrus by Aaron A. Craig. The reason that I've never mentioned this is because I only bought it like last week. I was pre-ordering a different book, and to qualify for free shipping I had to buy another book, and I realized that this one was available and I'd heard a lot about it, so I decided to pick it up. This is, from what I know, a dark fantasy, and it's a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, which I'm very intrigued about. Basically, it's these 12 sisters who I think live like somewhat isolated, and they are apparently cursed, and a couple of the sisters start dying and just bad things start happening, and I think the main character realizes that something darker is going on and is trying to, I think, solve the mystery or do something about it. But I really like dark fantasy, I really like dark stories in general, and 12 Dancing Princesses is a story that I'm familiar with, but I don't think I've ever read a retelling of it, so that definitely really, really intrigued me. But either way, I technically have never mentioned this book on my channel until now. A book that I have no idea what it's about. For this one, I'm going with Get Off That Unicorn by Anne McCaffrey, I think? I can't give the synopsis because I have no idea what this is about. I think this was a gift from somebody. It must have been. Maybe my brother? I don't remember, but somebody picked this up for me and I have no sweet clue what it's about. The cover is interesting. The title is interesting. I haven't read the back yet because I kind of want to go into it not knowing anything, just to see what in the world this book is even about. Number 5. Ooh. A book from a previous book haul. While I was looking for this book, I realized that I'm pretty sure when I was writing this, I meant the previous book haul, not a previous book haul, so like a book from the last book haul that I did. And I'm pretty sure this is the last book haul I did. It might be the one before, but I don't remember which one was which. But either way, I'm going with The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I found this at my local secondhand store and I had heard so much about this book, so I picked it up. Now, I've heard a lot of people talking about this book, I've heard a lot of people recommending this book, but I never remember the synopsis for some reason. I'm pretty sure it's like a fantasy, and I think it's like dark or there's something sad, and you're following the hero who something. Honestly, I don't remember, and I kinda am okay with that. There's one paragraph here that just says, "So begins a tale unequaled in fantasy literature, the story of a hero told in his own voice. It is a tale of sorrow, a tale of survival, a tale of one man's search for meaning in his universe, and how that search and the indomitable will that drove it gave birth to a legend." So that doesn't really tell me much, but it sounds like the things they did say are probably right. So either way, this is from my most recent book haul. Number 6, a dark book. This can either be physically the cover is dark or subject matter. I think I found the perfect book for this, and that is Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. The cover is dark, the title has the word dark, and I'm assuming that the subject matter is dark. Now for this one, I know that it is a mystery, and I kind of like going into mysteries knowing as little as possible, so I haven't actually read the synopsis yet. So I can't tell you what the synopsis is, so I'm just gonna hope that it's dark, and if not, the cover and the title are both dark, so it still fits for this prompt. Number 7, a book that I bought in 2019. For that one, I'm going with A Good Place to Hide by Peter Gross. This is a nonfiction story about a small community in France that was able to basically hide and protect, I think it was like 3,500 Jewish people during the time of the World War II. While people were coming to take the Jewish people away, these citizens were able to hide them, protect them, and keep them safe, and provide them a good place to hide. I don't know much more about this. All I know is it's nonfiction, and I know kind of the basic backstory behind it, but I'm very intrigued to read more. One thing I really love in historical novels is seeing like how the everyday person kind of dealt with things. I feel like this book is just an extra little bit of insight that I don't really know much about, and I think it would just be really interesting to read. Number 8. Ooh. A buddy read. Obviously this one might be changed depending on my buddy, but I'd like to pick A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I've already read the first book with my friend Audrey. I had so much fun. I loved reading the book with her. And then we each had the second book. We were gonna read it over the summer, and then with everything with Spock, I kind of just fell off the face of the earth and we never actually got around to it. So I'm really hoping, Audrey, that you want to maybe read it with me in 2021 at some time. I won't go into the synopsis of this book, because like I said, it is a sequel, but the first book is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and our main character is so clever. She's just so smart. Like, the first thing she does when she gets abducted is she tries to call 911. Like, who does that? And I just really loved the world. I really loved the characters, and the cliffhanger at the end and the plot twist. I'm very, very intrigued to see what happens in this book, so I'd really like to read this book, hopefully with my friend Audrey. Number 9. Oh, a book I bought in 2020. I decided to pick out Watch Us Rise by Renee Watson and Ellen Hagen. This is a contemporary story about, I think, these two girls that end up starting like a feminism club. They are in school and the clubs that they're in just aren't what they're looking for, so they decide to open up a new club that's focusing on feminism, and they're getting a lot of hate and kind of dealing with all of that. I saw a lot of people recommending this book and I picked it up, but for some reason I just never got to it. I think I picked it up like right before a different readathon, and then I kind of just never got around to it. But I bought it in 2020 and I will read it in 2021. Number 10. Ooh. A mystery. For this one, I'm actually going with a middle grade mystery, and that is Who Could That Be at This Hour by Lemony Snicket. This is the first book in the All the Wrong Questions series. It's a 4-book series. I do own all 4 books. If you don't know, Lemony Snicket is one of my all-time favorite authors. Not only do I love his writing, but I've said this so many times, I love Lemony Snicket as a character. I love that he created his like author persona as a character itself, and I just absolutely love that. I think he's a genius, and I love everything I've read from him before. So I haven't read this series yet. I think it's about a young girl who goes missing, and the detective is asking these different questions to try to figure out where she is, etc. I don't read much middle grade, and I don't know if I've ever read a middle grade mystery that I remember, so either way, I'm excited to check this out. Number 11. Okay. Own Voices LGBT+. For that one, I am going with Meat Market by Juno Dawson. This is such a shiny cover. I read Clean for my 24-hour readathon. I'll link that above and below, my JKRreadathon. I really loved Clean by this author, and I'm very excited for this book. I believe this book also tackles like either trans issues or just gender identity in general, and the author herself is trans. This is the story of a girl who ends up kind of getting thrown into the like modeling and fashion world, and basically the dark underbelly of that world and her relationship with gender and how in that world there's such a different focus. And I've read that it's dark and clean, the other book that I read by this author. The characters were so angry and it was a lot, but in a really good way. So I have high hopes that this will be similar, or at least kind of make you think and expose you to a lot of really ugly things. And finally, number 12. A book with a purple cover. This one I am really excited about, and that is Stoneheart by April K. This is the first book in the Gargoyles of Craven series. I also own the second book, and I am really excited. The third book comes out very soon. It might be out by the time I film this. I'll put it on screen here. If you don't know, April K is a fellow YouTuber. I definitely recommend her channel. I'm going to leave her linked down below. She's someone that I feel like I just relate to a lot, and we don't talk all that much, but I feel like every time I try to comment on her videos, I have to like stop myself from writing like a 10-page essay, because like I just always agree with everything she says. I feel like we have a lot of the same like insecurities and doubts and worries and stuff, and she's just able to put things in words that are just like, yes, you just described exactly how I'm feeling, but I've never known how to describe it, if that makes sense. But this is her book series, and I've heard her talking about it for so long, and I was finally able to pick it up. From what I understand, this is about a girl who witnesses some type of magical murder, and now she's kind of thrown into the magical world, and there's like evil magic users that are after her, and then there's good magic users that are trying to protect her, but basically things just kind of keep escalating. Every time April talks about her series, I just get so intrigued, and I just always want to know more and more and more, and it just sounds so great, so I'm glad that I finally picked it up. Also, gorgeous covers, I really like them, and they're very purple. So there we have it. Those are the 17 books that I would like to read at some point in 2021. I'm really excited for all of these. There's also quite a wide range of books. Like, I feel like there's a lot of different genres, a lot of different types of books, a lot of different vibes of books, so I'm really excited to read these. So I guess that is all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please click the like button to let me know, and subscribe to stay up to date with the rest of my videos and see if I actually get to these books. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday, usually reading or writing related. So I hope to see you guys next time, and until then, have a great day. Bye!